Don. So thank you very much for those kind words. I really appreciate it. Hopefully those words resonate with everyone here in this room. So now I've got a couple of quick things that I want to cover, and then we're going to get into our evening program, okay? So first, we're going to have our World War II and our Korean War and Cold War era veterans. We're going to have you go first. We'll get into the Vietnam portion of our program after that. So for Billy and our Korean and Cold War veterans, excuse me. So once we have finished with your portion of the program, gentlemen, I wanted to let you know that you are free to go. I know today has been a very long day. I realize that very much so. So when we're finished with your portion, you're welcome to go. However, you're free to stay. You're welcome to stay if you so choose. I do want to let you know that tomorrow breakfast begins at 5:30. Breakfast begins at 5:30. Hey guys, thank you. Breakfast begins at 5:30. If I'm not mistaken, we'll begin loading our buses at 6:30 a.m. 51, you guys are holding no punches, huh? So Don, in case if you weren't aware of this morning, we had a bus catch a flat tire on the way into town. We had a little delay. So, our itinerary says that we are scheduled to begin loading our buses at 6:30 a.m. We do have we have an appointment to go to the U.S. Capitol tomorrow morning, and it's important that we are timely with that, okay? So, breakfast starts at what time? 5:30. All right, not before, so please don't harass the staff. Our World War II, Korean, and Cold War era veterans, when we finish your portion of the program, you're welcome to leave. You're also welcome to stay. For everyone else, hang with me. We're gonna buckle up, okay? All right. So without further ado, yes. They need to bring their bags with them. Good point. Good point. Guys, cover me on this. So when we leave tomorrow, we will not return to this hotel. Okay? When we leave here in our buses tomorrow at 6:30 a.m., we will not return to this hotel, so please pack all of your things. You do not need to check out of your hotel room. Honor Flight staff will take care of that, okay? You can leave your key in your room, you can turn it at the front desk, you can throw it in a trash can, whatever you'd like, but make sure that you bring all your personal belongings with you because we will not return. Are we good there? Does everyone understand? Okay. Anything else? What am I missing? There's something. Thank you for the wonderful blessing, Jeff. Anything else? Karen? No. Nothing? All right. Here we go. May I have Billy Burke, Bobby Alameda, and Steve Binya. Okay. We're going to gather on this side. Oh, some more administrative notes. So when I call your name, guardians, if your veteran needs assistance, please feel free to come up with them all the way, okay? All the way with them to make sure that they have the support that they need to finish our tour safely. Hi, Steve. So when I call your name, we're going to form up over here to your left, okay? I'll keep the groups small so you don't have to stand for an extended period of time. We're going to start here. You'll have an opportunity to take a picture with the Admiral, and then we'll have a couple of gifts for you as you make your way this way. Does that make sense? Once we get going, you'll understand the flow. But we'll start on this side, work our way this way. Okay?
I'm confused.
Shaking hands. Shaking hands. So we'll begin with Billy, Bobby, and Steve. Billy, Bobby, and Steve. Larry, Brian, can you help make some room along that back wall, please? Yes, sir. Vicky, have Bobby start over here, please. Also, veterans, understand that those doors to your rear, if it's easier for you instead of navigating through the traffic, feel free to walk out and around if it makes your trip easier, okay? Billy Burke, Lieutenant Junior Grade, United States Navy, World War II. Hometown, location, entered service of Crescent, Oklahoma. Dates of service from December 1942 to December 1946. Billy entered basic training through the V-12 Officer Training Program at Oklahoma A&M, present-day Oklahoma State University. After his initial training at Oklahoma A&M, Billy took additional training at the University of Oklahoma, Caltech, and Midshipman School at the University of Notre Dame. He served as an aerologist with the VPW-1 Weather Patrol Squadron aboard the PBY-2 privateer aircraft. He was stationed overseas at the former Naval Air Station, Agana, Guam. He was stationed in several other locations in the Pacific, including Peking, China, and then the Pacific Islands of Kwajalein and Peleliu. He also took part in weather testing during the Bikini nuclear test after the end of World War II. Billy Burke.
The old admiral over here.
Okay. Okay. May I have Harry Davies and John Davis and Ed French also meet me on my right here. Next we have Bobby Alameda, Sergeant, United States Army, Korea, Cold War. Hometown, location, entered service of Canoga Park, California. His dates of service from April 1953 to April of 1958. He received basic training at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Bobby served with the 11th Airborne as a paratrooper and operating the 81 millimeter mortars. He was stationed overseas at Augsburg, Germany. Mr. Bobby Alameda. Harry Davies. Harry Davies, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force, Cold War. Location, entered service of Hollydale, California. Dates of service from January 1955 to January of 1959. He received basic training at Parks Air Force Base in San Francisco. Harry served as a mess sergeant at Wichita Falls Air Force Base in Texas and overseas for 18 months at a security site on Okinawa. His last assignment was as a cook for a general at Edwards Air Force Base in California, Mr. Harry Davies. John Davis. John Davis, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Cold War. Location, entered service of San Luis Obispo, California. His dates of service are from January 1956 to June of 1958. He received basic training in San Diego, California. John served as a boiler tender aboard the destroyer USS Gregory. While on the Gregory, he was in different locations in the Pacific, including Japan and Hong Kong. Mr. John Davis. Okay, Kim would like even the guardians to come up. So please come up with your veteran. Every guardian come up with your veteran so you can be included in those photos. May I have Mr. Ed French, Ray Hamburg, and Bill Pro meet me over here.
All right.
Please.
Okay, let's take another picture here. Okay. Ready? Let's see. You and I. All right. I haven't seen the blue ticket in many years.
Might as well. We have it. Ed, are you up here? Right here. Ed, right here. Come on up, Ed. Ed French, Sergeant, United States Army, Korea, and Cold War. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. Dates of service from March 1953 to January of 1956. He received basic training at Fort Riley, Kansas. Ed worked with the highest sensitive information in the Army Security Agency as a Morse code interceptor. He was stationed stateside at Fort Devers, Massachusetts. He was stationed for almost 2 years at the Communications Center at Wildwood Army Station near Kenai, Alaska. Mr. Ed French. Ray Hamburg. Ray Hamburg, Seaman, United States Navy, Cold War. Hometown location and service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from January 1960 to December of 1960. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Ray served as a boilerman aboard the attack cargo ship USS Tulare, which was homeported in San Diego. Mr. Ray Hamburg. John Richard and Donald Tidmore, will you please come over here and meet me to my right, please? John and Donald, please meet me over here to my right. Bill Pro. Bill Pro, Airman 3rd Class, United States Air Force, Cold War. Hometown location and service of Norwalk, California. Dates of service from April 1956 to December of 1957. He received basic training at Travis Air Force Base in California. Bill served as an aircraft mechanic with the SAC 509th Air Refueling Squadron aboard the KC-97 Air Refueling Stratofreighter. He was also stationed at Walker Air Force Base in Roswell, New Mexico, and spent over 2 months at the Goose Bay Air Force Base in Labrador. Mr. Bill Pro. John Richard. John Richard, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Cold War. Hometown location and service of Los Angeles, California. Dates of service from January 1957 to October of 1960. He received basic training in San Diego, California. John served in the Naval Air as an aviation structural mechanic for the Martin P-4 Mike Mercator patrol bomber and other aircraft. He was stationed stateside at Moffett Field in Mountain View, California, and overseas at Hickam Airfield, Hawaii, and in Japan at Naval Air Station at Tsugi. Mr. John Richard. Donald Tidmore. Donald Tidmore, Airman 1st Class, United States Air Force, Cold War, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from July 1960 to December of 1963. He received basic training in San Antonio, Texas. Don served as a controller for the loading and unloading of aircraft, overseeing both cargo and personnel. He also worked as a flight announcer. He served stateside at Luke Air Force Base in Arizona and George Air Force Base in Victorville, California. He was stationed overseas in Vietnam at Da Nang. He is the recipient of a Vietnam Service Medal, Mr. Donald Tidmore. All right. That was our group of World War II, Korean, and Cold War era veterans. So gentlemen, as I mentioned before, if you would like to stay, please feel welcome. However, if you get tired, please feel free to leave at any time. Now we're going to move into the Vietnam era portion of our evening. If your last name begins with the letter A or B, can you please meet me over here to my right? A and B. With your guardians. Please, please, with your guardians. With the STRATCOM SIG group at Fort Carson, Colorado, which was the support group for Cheyenne Mountain. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a U.S. Army Headquarters STRATCOM Signal Group Commendation, Mr. Paul Bobbitt. George Boston. George Boston, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1961 to May of 1965. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. George served as a jet aircraft mechanic. He was a crew chief on T-37s and T-33s while stationed at Laughlin Air Force Base, Texas. He was also a crew chief for F-102s at Naha Air Base on Okinawa for the RB-57 reconnaissance aircraft while stationed at Tan Son Nhut. That's not bad. Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Vietnam. He is the recipient of a Small Arms Expert Marksmanship Badge and an Armed Services Expeditionary Medal, Mr. George Boston. Joe Bracamonte. Joe Bracamonte, Airman First Class, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Lamont, California. His dates of service are from November 1974 to April 1977. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Joe served in the 656th Combat Support Group as an aerospace ground equipment repairman. He worked on the F-4 Phantoms and the B-52 bombers. He was stationed stateside at Chanute Air Base, Illinois, and Mather Air Base in California. He was also stationed overseas at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines and in Thailand at the Udon Air Base and Nakhon Phantom Air Base. Mr. Joe Bracamonte. Mike Brock. Mike Brock, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service.
Thank you for your service.
Just 1 second. Hometown location entered service of Taft, California. He received basic training in San Antonio, Texas. Mike served as a law enforcement specialist. He was stationed at Lowry Air Force Base in Colorado with the 3415th Security Police Squadron and with the 4392nd Security Police Squadron at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Medal, Mr. Mike Brock. If your last name begins with the letter C, please meet me over here. Last name begins with the letter C, please meet me over here.
I'd like to buy a valve for $50, please.
Harold Bulford. Harold Bulford, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam.
All right.
Hometown location and service, Adoria, Pennsylvania. Dates of service from March 1963 to August of 1967. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Harold served in Vietnam with the Riverine Patrol Force, the Brown River Navy. He was a gunner's mate, taking part in the river patrols in the Mekong Delta and was stationed at Can Tho. He was also stationed on the destroyer USS Pebble that was ported, Pueblo or Pebble? That was ported in the Philippines. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, and a Presidential Unit Citation, Mr. Harold Bulford. Yep. Robert Burns. Robert Burns, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Oxnard, California. Dates of service from September 1969 to April 1971. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Robert served in the infantry reconnaissance in Vietnam with the 1st Cavalry, 4th Infantry Division. He was stationed at Pleiku and Chu Lai. He also took part in many operations, including the Cambodian incursion in mid-1970. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, 2 Army Commendation Medals, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, an Air Medal, and a Purple Heart, Mr. Robert Burns. Now, Mr. John Caminetti. John Caminetti, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from July 1966 to July of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Walters, Texas. After additional training at Fort Rucker, Alabama, John served in Vietnam as a personnel specialist with the 1st Air Cavalry Division at Camp Evans, which was located about 20 miles south of the DMZ. His job was to oversee the care of damaged helicopters and their pilots. He was in Vietnam at the time of the 1968 Tet Offensive. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Service Star, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, and an Army Commendation Medal, Mr. John Caminetti. Mr. Sharp. Mr. Aaron Sharp. He's going to come from your left. Aaron Sharp, Corporal, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bryan, Texas. His dates of service are from February 1969 to December of 1970. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Aaron served as a cook for the 1st Division. He was stationed overseas at Fort Benning, Georgia, and overseas at Augsburg, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Marksmanship M14 badge, Mr. Aaron Sharp. Dave Campbell. Dave Campbell, Senior Chief Petty Officer, United States Navy, Vietnam. Location area of service of New Philadelphia, Ohio. His dates of service are from August 1967 to September of 1987. He received basic training at Great Lakes, Illinois. Over his long career, Dave served as an electronic warfare technician and as a radarman. He was stationed in San Diego, Pensacola, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, and Pearl Harbor. He was stationed overseas at Yokosuka, Japan. He served aboard the destroyers USS Leonard F. Mason, the USS Benjamin Stoddard, and the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli. He served off the coast of Vietnam in the Tonkin Gulf for 3 years and took part in the battles of Operation Sea Dragon, Operation Rolling Thunder, and Operation Linebacker 1 and 2. He is the recipient of several awards, including the Navy and Marine Corps Commendation Medal, a Navy Unit Commendation with 3 stars, a Vietnam Meritorious Unit Citation, a Combat Action Ribbon, a Vietnam Service Medal with 7 stars, and a 7th Fleet Letter of Commendation, just to name a few. That's Mr. Dave Campbell. Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell, Chief Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location area of service, St. Louis, Missouri. His dates of service are from 1966 through 1970, and then again in 1972 to 1996. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Throughout his long career, Glenn served 26 years of active duty, with duty in Vietnam and Desert Storm. He worked as a maintenance superintendent and an ammo chief for the Super B-52 bombers. He was also a command inspector, general instructor. Stateside, he was stationed in California at George and Edwards Air Force Base, Lowry Air Force Base in Colorado, MacDill Air Force Base in Florida, and Langley Air Force Base right here in Virginia. He was stationed overseas in Thailand at the Tapo Air Base, Ubon Air Base, and the NKP Air Base. He was also stationed overseas in Okinawa at Naha Air Base and Kadena Air Base. During Desert Storm, he was stationed in Turkey. He is the recipient of many awards, including a Meritorious Service Medal, a Meritorious Unit Award, Air Force Unit Commendation Medal with 2 stars, Vietnam Service Medal with 6 devices, Air Force Outstanding Unit Award with Valor, and 2 devices, just to name a few, Mr. Glenn Campbell. Steve Cantor. Steve Cantor, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Anaheim, California. Dates of service from August 1969 to March of 1971. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Steve served in Vietnam as an APC track commander in a scout recon platoon with 1st Battalion, 77th Armor, 5th Infantry Division. He was stationed near the DMZ at Quang Tri for 13 months. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal, a Combat Infantryman's Badge, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Service Medal, and a Soldier's Medal. The Soldier's Medal is awarded to a service member who has distinguished themselves by heroism not involving conflict with the enemy. That is Mr. Steve Cantor. Patrick Casey. Patrick Casey, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Canoga Park, California. His dates of service are from October 1974 to October of 1979. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Patrick served with the VQ-1 Fleet Air Reconnaissance Squadron as an electronic warfare operational intelligence crew leader on the U.S. Navy's EP-3E-A3 aircraft. He was stationed stateside in California at San Diego and NAS Moffett Field. He was stationed overseas in Japan and the Philippines and at NAS Agana in Guam and Korat Air Base in Thailand. He is the recipient of Aircrew Rings and a Navy Achievement Medal, Mr. Patrick Casey. Raul Castillo. Raul Castillo, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Location and service of Early Mark, California. His dates of service are from December 1968 to December of 1972. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Raul served as naval aviation as a mechanic. He was stationed stateside at NAS Lemoore in California, and he served aboard the carrier USS Enterprise, which stopped in various locations in the Pacific, including the Philippines and off the coast of Vietnam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Raul Castillo. Donnie Coleman. Donnie Coleman, Private 2nd Class, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Birmingham, Alabama. His dates of service are from September 1971 to February of 1974. He received basic training at Fort Polk, Louisiana. After additional training at Fort Sam Houston, Texas, Donnie served with the 3rd Medical Battalion as a medical corpsman. He was stationed overseas at the 9th Medical Dispensary in Eichenberg, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Donnie Coleman. Jack Compton. Jack Compton, Corporal, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Slimar, California. His dates of service are from November 1965 to August of 1967. He received basic training at Fort Polk, Louisiana. After additional training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Jack was sent to Fort Benning, Georgia for jump school. He was assigned to the 101st Airborne and then deployed to Vietnam. He was reassigned to Charlie Company 39th Engineer Battalion as a combat engineer and was stationed at Camp Alpha in Saigon. He was in several locations, including Cam Ranh, Toi Hua. Was that close? How do I say that? a duck phone. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Jack Compton. Alan Connor. Alan Connor, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from September 1974 to December of 1978. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Alan served with Alpha Battery, 3rd Battalion, 84th Field Artillery Regiment as a Pershing missile crewman, working as a computer programmer. He was stationed stateside at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and overseas at Heilbronn, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Alan Connor. Ty Connor. Ty Connor, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from August 1973 to May 1975. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Ty took additional training at Monterey, California, and then served in artillery as a crewman on a 105 howitzer and as a battalion clerk in Fort Lewis, Washington. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Ty Connor. Melvin Coward. Melvin Coward, Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Kingsport, Tennessee. Dates of service from June 1970 to July of 1990. Over his long career, Mel served in a transportation squadron working in vehicle maintenance. Stateside, he was stationed at Perrin Air Force Base in Texas, McCord Air Force Base in Washington, Vandenberg Air Force Base in California, and Bolling Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. Overseas, he served at Ben Hoa in Vietnam, Howard Air Force Base in Panama, and Bitburg Air Force Base in Germany. He is the recipient of several awards, including an Air Force Commendation Medal, Meritorious Service Medal, a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, Republic of Vietnam Service Medal, and an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award with 1 Oak Leaf Cluster, Mr. Melvin Coward. If your last name begins with the letter D, please meet my staff to my right. Fred Creamer. Fred Creamer, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from January 1967 to October of 1970. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Fred served in naval aviation as an aviation boatswain's mate, operating the catapult and arresting gear on carriers. He first served aboard the USS carrier USS Yorktown, which was homeboarded in Long Beach, and then the USS Enterprise. The Yorktown was the recovery ship for the Apollo 8 in December of 1968. He was in several locations in the Pacific and did 2 tours of duty off the waters of Vietnam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Mr. Fred Creamer. Tom Crossman. Tom Crossman, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Spring City, Pennsylvania. His dates of service are from March 1964 to March of 1967. He received basic training at Marine Corps, Fort Ord, California. That can't be, is that correct? Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, is that right?
No, I went to boot camp
Parris Island, South Carolina. Tom served in Vietnam as a tank commander in tank battalions with the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th Marine Divisions. He was among some of the first Marines to land in Vietnam in 1965 at Da Nang. Tom took part in the amphibious landings in the fall of 1965 called Operation Dagger Thrust and Operation Blue Marlin. He was also in Operation Harvest Moon in December of 1965. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 2 stars, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with devices, and a Meritorious Mass, Mr. Tom Crossman. Gary Dolan. Gary Dolan, Petty Officer, 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from January 1967 to September of 1971. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Gary served as a radar operator and took 2 Westpacks, sailing to many Pacific locations, including Japan, Subic Bay, Philippines, and Da Nang in Vietnam. He was first stationed on the carrier USS Hornet. He was then transferred to the destroyer USS Summers. Stateside, he was stationed in California at Long Beach and Treasure Island. He is the recipient of the Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal in Korea, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal, Mr. Gary Dolan. If your last name begins with the letter F or G, please meet me to my right. Patrick Donahue. Patrick Donahue, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Philadelphia, California. His dates of service are from April 1973 to May of 1976. He received basic training at Fort Dix, New Jersey. Patrick took additional training at Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. He served in the V Corps headquarters in Frankfurt, Germany as a photographer. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Patrick Donahue. Dan Fargo. Dan Fargo, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Denver, Colorado. Dates of service from July 1971 to July 1974. He received basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. Dan served with the 1st Infantry Division in Fort Riley, Kansas as a section tank commander. He was also stationed stateside at Fort Benning, Georgia and Fort Ord, California. He was stationed overseas at Kaiserslautern, Germany, and would participate with British tank units for war games. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Expert Rifleman's Badge, Mr. Dan Fargo. Lauren Gardner. Lauren's on his way. Lauren Gardner, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Temple City, California. His dates of service are from June 1965 to December of 1969. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Lauren served in administration. He was stationed stateside at Edwards Air Force Base in California and F.E. Warren Air Force Base in Wyoming. He was stationed overseas at Korat Air Base in Thailand. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, and an Air Force Commendation Medal, Mr. Lauren Gardner. Dave Gates. Dave Gates. I understand. We will honor and recognize Mr. Gates tomorrow on our return trip home, okay? John Graves. John Graves. Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service at Louisville, Kentucky. Dates of service from December 1969 to December 1974. And then again from 1975 to 1979. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, South Carolina. John was trained as a mortarman and, after a break, re-enlisted for a 2nd tour of duty. In Vietnam, he was stationed at Quang Tri and served aboard the heavy cruiser USS Newport News as a gunner. He took part in Operation Linebacker in 1972, which was the naval and aerial bombardment of North Vietnam and the harbor of Hai Phong. Okay. He was also stationed stateside at Camp Pendleton, California, Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, Norfolk Naval Base, and Quantico in Virginia. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 star, a Combat Action Ribbon, and a letter of appreciation from the President of the United States, Mr. John Graves. So, just so we're all clear in this room, I have very little experience in Thailand. I have even less experience in Vietnam. So if I trip up on the pronunciations of some of these towns, let me have it, guys, okay? I paused there, not because I was finished with Mr. Graves' biography, but because I was waiting for you guys to rip me for saying whatever city name that was incorrectly. Dennis Griffith. Dennis Griffith, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Location entered service of Sioux City, Iowa. Dates of service from January 1960 to November of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Dennis served as a missile section chief on the crews overseeing missiles and launchers. He was stationed stateside at Shreveport, Louisiana, and Fort Bliss, Texas. He was stationed overseas in Germany and Korea. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a first-class missileman's badge, and an Air Force, as you were, an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Mr. Dennis Griffith. If your last name begins with the letter H, I, or K, please meet me to my right. H, I, or K. Greg Hagee. Hagee. Greg Hagee, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Pacific Palisades, California. His dates of service from December 1967 to October of 1971. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Greg served as a cook and was stationed stateside at Naval Air Station Point Mugu in California. He was overseas in the Philippines, Taiwan, and Japan, and served aboard the destroyer tender USS Markab.
Not a destroyer, AR-23.
Yeah, this is your attendant.
No, it's an auxiliary tender.
Auxiliary tender USS Markab. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Greg Hagee.
Thank you for your
Greg, I messed that up again, didn't I? I did. David Hanley. David Hanley, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1971 to October of 1973. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. David served in the 1st Armored Division Aviation Company at helicopter bases in Germany at Nuremberg and Ansbach. He worked in crash rescue as a firefighter and as a petroleum, oil, and lubricants handler. He was also a part-time armorer and a company clerk. He returned to the States and was discharged at Fort Dix, New Jersey. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. David Hanley. Patrick Hannon. Patrick Hannon. Okay. We will recognize Mr. Hannon tomorrow on our return trip home. Andy Huckins. Andy Huckins, Master Gunnery Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Cold War and Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Taft, California. Dates of service, from July 1957 to September of 1978. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Throughout his long career, Andy served as an electronic avionics chief. After boot camp, he took additional training at Jacksonville, Florida, and electronics school at Memphis Naval Air Station in Millington, Tennessee. Andy was assigned to VMC J1, Marine Photo Reconnaissance Squadron from 1959 to 1960 at MCAS El Toro in California. He served in several different units, VMA 211, VMA 223, VMA 224, and HAMS 12. He served with HMX 1, which oversaw Marine One for Presidents Johnson and Nixon in Quantico, Virginia from 1966 to 1969. He was also stationed in California at Camp Pendleton, California, and Los Alamitos Marine Base. He served overseas at Iwakuni, Japan, Okinawa, Japan, and in the Philippines. He did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam and was stationed at Marine Air Base at Chu Lai. at first in 1965 and again in 1969. Among his many awards and recognitions, he is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Navy Unit Commendation, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 4 stars, a Combat Action Ribbon, a Meritorious Unit Commendation, Meritorious Mass Presidential Unit Citation, and a Vietnam Meritorious Unit Commendation, Mr. Andy Huckins. Mr. Harrison, I'll come back to you, okay? I'll come back to you. Randy Isaac. Randy Isaac, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Yucaipa, California. His dates of service are from April 1967 to September of 1971. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After initial training at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, Randy served in the 82nd Airborne as a paratrooper and with the 4th Battalion, 44th Artillery. He was stationed overseas in Korea. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, and a Parachutist Badge, Mr. Randy Isaac. Ken Kasha. Ken Kasha, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Monterey Park, California. His dates of service are from November 1962 to October of 1966. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Ken took additional training at Fort Devens, Massachusetts, and served as a signal analyst in West Germany at a listening station near the North Sea and Czechoslovakian border. He was a part of the 7th U.S. Army Security Agency Special Operations Unit. He had a crypto clearance, and the unit was responsible for radar and voice intercept. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Ken Kasha. Bill Kelly. Bill Kelly, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown, location, area of service of Yorba Linda, California. Dates of service from September 1971 to December of 1975. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Bill served as an interior communications electrician aboard the submarine USS Queenfish. He was on a Westpac on the Queenfish, stopping at several ports, including Guam. He was stationed stateside at New London, Connecticut, and Bremerton, Washington. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Naval Expeditionary Medal, Mr. Bill Kelly.
Thank you for your service.
Dave, how do I say your last name? Keeley. Of course. Dave Keeley. Dave Keeley, Corporal, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown, location, and service of Taft, California. Dates of service from June 1973 to June 1977. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Dave served as an administrative assistant, a driver, and a mail clerk with Charlie Company 2nd Battalion, 30th Infantry. He served stateside at Fort Lewis, Washington, and overseas in Schweinfurt, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Dave Keeley. Kevin Kingsbury. Kevin Kingsbury, Specialist 4, United States Army. Hometown, location, area of service of San Pedro, California. Dates of service from June 1969 to December of 1970. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Kevin served as a field medic with the 35th Combat Engineer Battalion in Vietnam at Ben Thuy, and Soc Trang, south of Saigon in Four Corps. Is that the correct word? Four Corps. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, a Civil Action Medal, and an Army Commendation Medal, Mr. Kevin Kingsbury. If your last name begins with the letter L, please meet me to my right. Larry Knight. Larry Knight, Seaman, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Torrance, California. Dates of service from July 1974 to April of 1976. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Larry served as a machinist mate aboard the fast combat support ship USS Camden. The Camden was deployed to several locations, including Subic Bay in the Philippines, Karachi in Pakistan, and Singapore. He was also stationed stateside at Bremerton, Washington. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Larry Knight.
Thank you for your time.
Jim Lamberth. Jim Lamberth, Corporal, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Garden Grove, California. His dates of service are from September 1963 to September of 1966. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Jim served in Vietnam at Cu Chi with the 172nd Infantry Battalion, 23rd Infantry Division as a cook. He was also stationed stateside at Fort Richardson, Kansas, as you were at Fort Richardson, Alaska, and Schofield Army Base in Hawaii. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and an Expert Rifleman's Badge, Mr. Jim Lamberth.
Thank you for your time.
Leo Liao. Leo Liao, Sergeant, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from November 1964 to November of 1968. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Leo served as a machine gunner with the 5th and 9th Marines in Vietnam in I Corps at Da Nang. He took part in Operations Double Eagle in February 1966. After Vietnam, he was transferred to the Marine Barracks at Mare Island in California and worked on the rifle range and as a Sergeant of the Guard. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Presidential Unit Citation, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, and a Navy Marine Corps Achievement Medal, Mr. Leo Liao. Steve Lindsay. Steve Lindsay, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Location and service at Huntington Park, California. Dates of service from October 1969 to April of 1972. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Steve served in Vietnam in the 172nd Military Intelligence Division, the 173rd Airborne Brigade, as an intel analyst and interrogator. He was stationed in Landing Zone English in Bong Sun in 2 Corps. He was stationed stateside at Fort Holabird, Maryland, and Fort Pachuca, Arizona. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 3 Bronze Stars, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, 2 overseas bars, a Sharpshooter Badge, and a Bronze Star, Mr. Steve Lindsay. David Lopez. David Lopez, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Los Angeles, California. His dates of service are from October 1969 to August of 1973. He received basic training in San Diego, California. David served as a hull technician in Vietnam on the USS Askari, which was a repair ship for Riverine Patrol Force, the Brown River Navy, on the Mekong River. He also took part in river patrols as a crew member. He was stationed stateside in San Francisco, and his last assignment was shore duty at Naval Station Mayport in Florida. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, and a Combat Action Ribbon, Mr. David Lopez. Jose Lopez. Jose Lopez, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Location and service of Fresno, California. His dates of service are from June 1970 to February of 1972. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Jose trained in the Light Weapons Infantry and served as a clerk in the headquarters of the 17th Combat Aviation Group in Vietnam at Pleiku. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, Mr. Jose Lopez. If your last name begins with the letter M, please meet me to my right. Letter M, please meet me to my right. Sam Lujan. Sam, are you in the room? Okay, we will take our time to honor Sam on our return trip home. Mr. Willard Martin. Willard Martin, Senior Airman, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from November 1970 to April of 1974. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Willard served with the 6993rd, how do I say that in Air Force? 69993rd Security Squadron as a Morris System Operator. He served at Kelly Air Force Base in Texas and Shima Air Force Base, Alaska. On Shimon Island, Shimya. In Shimya Island in the Aleutians. He was stationed overseas in Italy at San Vito di Normandy Air Station. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Medal, Mr. Willard Martin. It's the first time I've ever seen the word Shemya. Tony Martinez. Tony Martinez, Corporal, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown of Azusa, California. His dates of service are from June 1962 to June of 1965. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training at Fort Gordon, Georgia, Tony served as a military policeman with the 503rd Military Police Company at Incheon, Korea. He was then transferred to Saigon, Vietnam in March of 1964. Mr. Tony Martinez. Mac McBratney. Mac McBratney, Major, United States Army and Army National Guard and Army Reserves, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Ontario, California. His dates of service are from 1970 to 1999. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Throughout his long career, Mac served in many capacities. He served 5 years full-time Army in Army active duty with additional years in the Reserves and National Guard. He served as a division transportation officer, a company commander, battalion staff, brigade staff, and division staff. He took cold weather training in Alaska and served as a commander for a mechanized infantry company. He was stationed stateside in Fort Lewis, Washington, and in California at Fort Irwin, Camp Roberts, and Los Alamitos. He served overseas in South Korea for 5 temporary additional temporary duty stations. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, an Army Service Medal, and an Expert Marksmanship Badge, Mr. Mac McBratney. Dan McClurg. Dan McClurg, Senior Airman, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of El Monte, California. His dates of service are from July 1970 to July of 1974. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Dan served as a weapons mechanic for bombs, guns, and nuclear weapons on B-52 bombers and F-4 Phantom fighter jets. He was stationed stateside at George Air Force Base in California and overseas at Anderson Air Force Base in Guam and in Thailand and the Utapao and Takil Air Bases. Tak Lee Air Base. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Medal, Mr. Dan McClurg. Bill McKee. Bill McKee, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Trona, California. His dates of service are from June 1967 to April of 1971. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Bill served as a radiation monitor aboard the subtenders USS Protest and USS Nereus. He was stationed overseas in Guam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Bill McKee. Thank you for your service. John Medviji, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from January 1973 to May of 1976. He also served an additional 17 and a half years in the United States Naval Reserve. He received basic training at NAS Memphis and Tennessee. John served as a Naval Aviation Maintenance Administrator with the Light Photographic Squadron 206 and the Naval Air Facility on Andrews Air Force Base in Washington, D.C. His squadron was responsible for maintenance and records for the RF-86 photo recon aircraft. He was stationed on the carrier USS Forrestal and spent 3 weeks on a temporary additional duty in Veracruz, Mexico, documenting drug growing centers in Central America. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and the Battle E ribbon, Mr. John Medviji. Johnny Mendez. Johnny Mendez, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam.
All right, Marine.
Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from May 1965 to February of 1972. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Johnny served as an aircraft mechanic. He was stationed stateside in California at Marine Corps Air Station El Toro and in North Carolina. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a sharpshooter badge, Mr. Johnny Mendez. If your last name begins with the letters N-O or N or O, please meet me over here. Mario Moreno. Mario Moreno, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Wasco, California. His dates of service are from February 1965 to February of 1968. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego. Mario served in Vietnam with 3rd Marines. He was stationed in Chu Lai and was in combat operations in Da Nang and Cam Lo near the DMZ. He was wounded and spent time in the hospital at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal with 60 device, a Vietnam Service Medal with 2 stars, a Presidential Unit Citation, and a Purple Heart, Mr. Mario Moreno. Byron Morgan. Byron Morgan, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from September 1966 to August of 1969. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Byron served with the 245th Army Support Battalion in Korat, Thailand as an aircraft repair specialist. He was also stationed in Germany. He did repairs and worked in the supply depot, ordering and issuing parts and supplies for combat support. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Byron Morgan. If your last name begins with the letter P, please meet me to my right. Last name begins with the letter P, please meet me to my right. Harold Newton. Harold Newton, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown, location, area, and service of Bountiful, Utah. His dates of service are from May 1963 to April of 1966. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. After additional training as a diesel mechanic at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, Harold served as a motor pool parts specialist and a heavy equipment driver with the 538th Engineer Battalion at Fort Knox, Kentucky. He was deployed to Vietnam and was stationed at Cam Ranh Bay for 9 months, where he was part of the crews that went into the jungle to clear and build roads, including parts of Highway 1 and small areas in Cambodia. He was then transferred to an earth-moving group in Korat, Thailand. He is the recipient of an Army Sharpshooter Badge. Mr. Harold Newton.
We were told that all the time. That's why I don't either.
Henry Oliver. Henry Oliver, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Klamath Falls, Oregon. Dates of service from July 1962 to August of 1966. He received basic training in San Diego, California. After additional training at Dam Neck, Virginia and Treasure Island, California, Henry served as a fire control missile technician with the T-6 Division. He served aboard the cruisers USS Chicago and the USS Columbus. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Vietnam Service Medal, Mr. Henry Oliver. Mike Patterson. Mike Patterson, Sergeant, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Taft, California. His dates of service are from December 1967 to October 1969. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Mike served as a clerk and a courier in Vietnam with the 82nd Airborne, often carrying battle plans and secret documents by helicopter to operations location in the A Shaw Valley. After 4 months, he was transferred to the 3rd Brigade headquarters in Saigon, where he was a courier for a general. He was stationed stateside at Fort Polk, Louisiana. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Vietnam Campaign Medal, an Army Commendation Medal, and a Bronze Star, Mr. Mike Patterson. Jim Peck. Mr. Jim Peck, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force and Air National Guard, Vietnam. Hometown location area and service of Van Nuys, California. His dates of service from June 1962 to January of 1971. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Jim served with the 562nd Air Force Band and played the alto saxophone. He was stationed stateside at Van Nuys, California and Fairbanks, Alaska, Mr. Jim Peck. Sherry Pennywitt. Sherry Pennywitt, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of McFarland, California. Dates of service from August 1974 to November of 1976. She received basic training at Fort McClellan, Alabama. Sherry served in Augsburg, Germany with the 538th Signal Company, 69th Signal Battalion as a wheeled vehicle mechanic and a clerk. She is the recipient of an Expert Rifleman's Badge, Ms. Sherry Pennywitt.
Thank you for your service.
Dennis Potter.
Are you here, Mr. Potter?
Dennis, are you in the room?
Dennis had to leave.
I understand. We will recognize Dennis tomorrow on our return trip home. Mick Powers. Mick Powers, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy. Hometown location and service of Butte, Montana. Dates of service from November 1968 to December 1969. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Mick served in the Naval Reserve for 4 years while in high school and then entered active duty in 1968. He served in the Riverine Patrol Force, the Brown Water Navy, as a boatswain's mate and a gunner aboard the river patrol boat USS Crockett on the Songkhulan River and in the Mekong Delta. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Combat Action Ribbon, and a Bronze Star with Combat V device, Mr. Mick Powers. If your last name begins with the letter R, please meet me to my right. Mr. Ron Preston. Ron Preston, Seaman, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location here in service of Detroit, Michigan. Dates of service from February 1968 to December 1971. Received basic training in San Diego, California. Ron served as a boiler technician on the amphibious assault helicopter ship USS New Orleans. The New Orleans was in several locations in the Pacific. He was also stationed stateside at New London, Connecticut, and in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with device, Mr. Ron Preston. Jimmy Price. Jimmy Price, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location here in service of McFarland, California. His dates of service from August 1969 to May of 1971. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Jim served as a wheeled vehicle mechanic with the 543rd Support Company, 6th Army, and was stationed at Fort Lewis, Washington. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Expert Rifleman's Badge, Mr. Jimmy Price.
Thank you.
Stephen Rainey. We will recognize Mr. Rainey on our return trip home. Mr. Terry Ray. Terry Ray, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location in service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from December 1964 through September of 1968. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. Terry served with the 4th Battalion, 11th Marines in artillery. He was stationed in 29 Palms, California in 1965. He was deployed to Vietnam for 2 tours of duty. In 1966, he was stationed at Chu Lai. He returned to Camp Pendleton in 1967 and then returned again to Vietnam at Da Nang in 1968. He is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 3 stars, and the Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with device, Mr. Terry Ray. Dennis Rourke. Dennis Rourke, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location in service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from April 1968 through April of 1970. He received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. Dennis served as a supply clerk stateside at Fort MacArthur in California. He was stationed overseas in Okinawa, Japan. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Sharpshooter Badge, Mr. Dennis Rourke. If your last name begins with the letter S, please meet me to my right. Rod Rodriguez. Rod Rodriguez, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location in service of Bakersfield, California. Dates of service from April 1965 to January of 1967. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Rod took additional training at Fort Benning, Georgia, and Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and received his jump wings. He served in Vietnam with the 228th Assault Support Helicopter Battalion at Camp Phu Loy. Is the recipient of the National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal, Sharpshooter Badge, Parachutist Badge, and 2 overseas bars, Mr. Rod Rodriguez. Tony Shaflia. Tony Shaflia, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Northridge, California. Dates of service from May 1970 to March of 1974. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Tony served as an aircraft maintenance specialist, servicing the C-119 gunships. He was stationed overseas in Vietnam at Da Nang and a temporary additional duty at 2 air bases in Thailand. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and an Air Force Outstanding Unit Award, Mr. Tony Shaflia. Danny Serpa. Mr. Serpa, we will recognize you tomorrow on our return trip home. Larry Sitzman. Larry Sitzman, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Greenlee, Colorado. His dates of service are from May 1969 to March of 1973. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Larry served as an accounting, payroll, and finance. He was stationed stateside at Wichita, Texas, and Colorado Springs, Colorado. He served overseas in Saigon, Vietnam, and Tan Son Nhut Air Force Base. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal, and an Air Force Commendation Medal, Mr. Larry Sitzman. Don Sladek. Don Sladek, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Prior Lake, Minnesota. Dates of service from November 1972 to November of 1976. Received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Excuse me. Don served with the 601st Airborne Photo, 454th Tactical Fighter Squadron as an aerospace photographic systems repairman. He maintained the airborne camera systems of the F-4 Phantom jets. He was stationed stateside at Lowry Air Force Base in Colorado and Edwards Air Force Base in California. Overseas, he was stationed at Udon Air Base in Thailand. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, and an Air Force Longevity Award, Mr. Don Sladek. Stephen Smalley. Stephen Smalley, Petty Officer, 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Location and service of Bakersfield, California. Dates of service from January 1968 to November of 1971. He received basic training in San Diego, California. After additional training in Millington, Tennessee, Stephen served as a radar operator for the P-3 Orion aircraft when he was transferred to the Patrol Squadron VP-22 at Barbers Point, Hawaii. Overseas, he was stationed at Midway Island, Naha Air Base on Okinawa, Sangley Point Naval Air Station in the Philippines, Guam, and Utapao Air Base in Thailand. He was stationed stateside at North Island and Moffett Field in California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, Vietnam Campaign Medal, Meritorious Unit Commendation, an Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal for Korea, and an Air Medal, Mr. Stephen Smalley. Jerry Smith. Jerry Smith, Petty Officer, 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location and service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from July 1965 to October of 1967. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Jerry served as a radarman and air controller for 2 tours of duty in Vietnam. He was stationed on the destroyer USS Lyman K. Swenson, deployed to the Tonkin Gulf. The Swenson provided escort to protect ships going up to Saigon River and provided security for the Da Nang Harbor. The Swenson would also recover fallen pilots that were downed in North Vietnam Harbor of Hai Phong. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 3 Bronze Stars, and a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with device, Mr. Jerry Smith. Bill Snow. Bill Snow, Petty Officer 3rd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location area and service of Long Beach, California. His dates of service are from July 1964 to July of 1967. He received basic training in San Diego, California. After radio school, Bill served as a radioman. He was stationed in Guam and the Marianas Islands for 18 months, and then was transferred to the destroyer USS Charles R. Ware in December of 1966. The Ware was stationed in the waters off the coast of Vietnam, providing offshore gunfire support and land bombardment. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Vietnam Service Medal, Mr. Bill Snow.
Thank you.
I have one. Mr. Jim Spoor. Jim Spoor, Petty Officer 2nd Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from May 1967 to April of 1970. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Jim served as a sergeant, sonar technician, ground aboard the destroyer USS Perkins. While on board the Perkins, Jim was deployed on a Westpac, including support off the shores of Vietnam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, Armed Forces Expeditionary Medal for Korea, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with device. After active duty, he spent many years in the California National Guard. Mr. Jim Spoor. Stanley Stewart. Stanley Stewart, Sergeant, United States Air Force, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from January 1967 to January of 1971. He received basic training at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Stanley served as a jet aircraft mechanic with the 630th Military, 63rd Military Air Transportation Command Maintenance Squadron. He maintained the C-141 transport aircraft. He was stationed at Norton Air Force Base in San Bernardino, California. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a Sharpshooter Badge, Mr. Stanley Stewart. If I have not, if your last name begins with the letter T through the letter W, please meet me to my right. Mr. Don Summers. Don Summers, Specialist for United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Taft, California. His dates of service from January 1966 to December of 1968. He received basic training at Fort Bliss, Texas. John served with the Service Battery, 1st Battalion, 2nd Artillery, and U.S. Army Europe. He served as an artillery surveyor, a driver for the commander, and worked at the ammo depot. He was stationed stateside at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, and overseas at Baumholder, Germany. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Don Summers. Terry Taylor. Terry Taylor, Corporal, United States Marine Corps, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from June 1969 to August of 1971. He received basic training at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, San Diego, California. After Marine Infantry training at Camp Pendleton, California, Terry served in Vietnam in the infantry with Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines at Khe Sanh. He was stationed in Japan at Mount Fuji and on Okinawa at Camp Hansen. He also worked as a Marine longshoreman in Long Beach, unloading ships that were returning from Vietnam. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal with 1 Bronze Star, a Republic of Vietnam Campaign Medal with device, and a Combat Action Ribbon, Mr. Terry Taylor. Tex Thomas. Tex Thomas, Specialist 5, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Boron, California. Dates of service from February 1969 to August of 1972. Received basic training at Fort Lewis, Washington. After basic training, Tex took turbine engine school at Fort Eustis, Virginia. He served as a CH-47 Chinook mechanic with 1st Cavalry and was stationed in Vietnam at Phuoc Vinh Base Camp near Saigon. He flew recovery and was flown to locations where helicopters went down and needed quick repairs. He also acted as a door gunner. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, a Republic of Via Campaign Medal with device, 2 Army Commendation Medals, 3 Overseas Bars, 3 Air Medals, and a Bronze Star, Mr. Tex Thomas. Richard Torres. Richard Torres, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Delano, California. His dates of service are from March 1971 to December of 1972. Received basic training at Fort Ord, California. Richard served as a parachute rigger with the 82nd Airborne in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal and a parachutist badge. Mr. Richard Torres. Mr. John White. John White, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown, location entered service of Ventura, California. His dates of service are from December 1968 through November of 1970. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. John served with the 1st Field Forces in Vietnam at Nha Trang. He was also stationed for a year stateside in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, serving as a recruiter. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, a Vietnam Service Medal, and a Vietnam Campaign Medal. Mr. John White. J.C. Whitney. J.C. Whitney, Specialist 4, United States Army, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Bakersfield, California. His dates of service are from October 1973 to October of 1975. He received basic training at Fort Ord, California. J.C. served in food service with the 189th Military Police Company for 18 months at the Misaw Army Depot in Germany, which was one of the largest ammunition and nuclear weapons storage facilities in Europe. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. J.C. Whitney. And last, but certainly not least, Mr. Michael Williams. Michael Williams, Petty Officer, 1st Class, United States Navy, Vietnam. Hometown location entered service of Santa Ana, California. His dates of service are from July 1974 to April of 1984. He received basic training in San Diego, California. Michael served as an air traffic controller. He was stationed stateside in California at China Lake, San Diego, and Naval Air Station Point Mugu, and the Naval Auxiliary Air Station in San Nicolas Island. He also served on the aircraft carrier USS Ranger. He is the recipient of a National Defense Service Medal, Mr. Michael Williams. Mr. Harrison, can you please come up?
Save something special.
A pleasure to meet you.
Now, Mr. Harrison, I don't have a biography written down for you. We will have one for you before we fly tomorrow. I'm confident of that. But you served in the United States Navy. What did you do in the United States Navy?
Hospital corpsman, 2nd class.
You were a Naval Corpsman, a second class, so Petty Officer second class, you're Naval Corpsman. What years did you serve from?
67, 68 to 70.
From 1967 to 1970. Can you tell me a little bit about your service, sir?
I come home.
I couldn't have put it better myself, Mr. Richard Harrison. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir.
We love you guys.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
And all of you.
So just some final notes here. As we went through the interview process to come on board with Honorflight Kern County, several questions were asked of you. One of those questions were, do you have a friend or a family member on the Vietnam Wall? Several people responded yes to that question and gave us some information where we could have these impressions made for you ahead of time. So I have impressions for Mr. George Boston. Are you still in the room? George. Mr. Charles Thomas. Are you still in the room? Mr. Tidmore. Mr. Tidmore? Stephen Smalley. Still here? Richard Rodriguez. This is for Mr. Rodriguez. Mike Patterson. Richard Harrison. And Mr. David Campbell. Will you give this back, please? We'll get him on the airplane. So one thing that we constantly strive for at Honorflight Kern County is to learn and grow. Learn and grow. One thing that both Karen and I learned as we attended the National Summit in February of this year was the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund provides a wonderful service. They maintain the Vietnam Wall for us all. They do that no cost to the United States government. They do that on their own dime. They also have a call-ahead procedure where we can send a list of names to them, and they will go and they will make a very high-quality impression for us. Also, we requested that their services, they had their docents out there, those guys with the yellow hats that helped us take pictures and helped us find the people that we wanted to find on the wall. That's 100%. So I would like to say, personally, thank you very much to Miss Karen Gardner for being our tour logistics coordinator. I'll tell you this from personal experience, standing up here in front of a microphone and reading from a page is not difficult. Helping people get where they need to go and providing a service for you, that's not difficult. The logistics that it takes to make sure that this trip runs smoothly and efficiently, that we have things like an Air Force band show up to us when they meet us at the Air Force Memorial, the buses show up on time, mostly. We have food, we have water, we have a hotel room, we have all of these things. Karen has a huge part in that, so thank you again, Karen. Couldn't do it without you. I'd also like to take a quick moment to recognize some of my bus leaders that are up here. We've got Jim, we've got Jeff, we have Steve, Larry in the back, Brian over there. And Anthony, you were hiding behind the flag for me, sorry. Our bus leaders right here. Hey, accountability, #1 priority. We cannot leave a man behind. And without these guys, that part doesn't move smooth. So just personally from me, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you. So right now, this is live streaming. This has been live streaming for the past hour plus since we've been up here. That doesn't happen without Rich Forrester and Kim Whitaker, our AV, our photographers here. You've got a community that loves you and supports you. And Kevin Charette and Ralph Bailey are doing their damnedest to make sure that every single human being from here to there are seeing what we're doing here to help share the love and support of a community to you. So Kevin and Ralph, thank you very much for everything that you do for Honorflightkerncounty.
Open mic.
So this is a part of the trip where I want to say something, and I just want to say thank you very much. Thank you very much to each one of our veterans that are in this room. Gentlemen and ladies, without your service to this nation, we would not be standing where we are today. The nation, our community, each and every individual in this room owes you an immense debt of gratitude, and I am deeply honored to have been a part of this trip for you, so thank you very much for your service. I would like to offer the opportunity, if there is anyone in this room that would like to share a little about their experience on this trip, whether it was coming to Washington, D.C. for the first time, going to the Vietnam Wall and seeing your brothers and sisters there on the wall, whether it was going to the Women's Memorial and seeing yourself memorialized, captured forever in the National Archives of the Women's Memorial. If you'd like to share anything about your experience now, ladies and gentlemen, the microphone is yours. Come on up.
I wanted us to give credit to the nation and the people who went before us. And I can think of nothing better as an honor than all of us singing together the national anthem.
David, feel free to lead us through the national anthem. Everyone in the room, if you'll please rise and remove your covers.